Are we in a housing bubble? Are we starting to see a shift in the housing market? It's a question I get a lot. The numbers are in for Whisper Dunes for April 2022. I'm Craig Duran with the Duran Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, and let's dig into some of the data. Before I do that, just in case if you're watching this and you know anyone who would benefit from this information, please share that with them or encourage them to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I like to update everyone once a month on what's happening in Whisper Dunes or what's happening in the overall housing market. I'm getting a lot of good feedback that people are really finding it valuable. So if you know anyone, maybe pass it along. Let's get right to the data. Very simply, it's a matter of supply and demand. We know if we have a lot of supply in the market and not too many people buying, that prices would have to come down or prices will be weaker. If we don't have that much supply and we have plenty of people who want to buy, prices will be strong or prices will appreciate. We know the housing market the last couple of years has been a very strong market because of some of these fundamentals. There have not been very many houses to buy, and there have been plenty of people wanting to buy houses. Let's look at what the real numbers look like and see what they're showing us to see if there are any changes happening. There are some slight shifts we should be paying attention to. Beginning of the year, let's just pay attention to column B and column D, and we don't need to get too detailed on all the numbers. Just look at the red and the green for a second. So the first column is our supply column. How many homes are for sale? This is the active listings in the market. The number of new contracts represents our demand. How many people are actually writing new contracts to buy something? Beginning of January, we were off about 40% if you look through that column. Think about it this way: the home store, if you walked into a store that was selling houses, 40% of the shelves would be bare. You'd only have to be able to choose from about 60% of what the entire store could hold. The people walking in the store were down. It was down 38%, down 19, 36, up 22. So demand was a little bit off, but the supply was a little bit off in January. Into February, supply was still off. Our housing store was still about 40% empty, but the demand was coming back a little bit. We're only down 14, 15%, and then about flat, down 3%, up 3%. March is a little different story. The store's filling up a bit now. We're only down 30, 29, 26, 21, 16. So now at the end of March, we've gone from being only about 60% full to about 80 or 85%. Buyers are walking in now and they have a few more choices than they did before. Demand is waning a little bit. Down 17, 29, 47 in these months. We did have a good first week of up 24%. So think about that for just a minute. In March, demand was off a little bit and our supply levels are coming back a little bit. Very slight, but worth noting. April, kind of a culmination of what I'm wanted to show you from January through April. We're back to 100%. You walk in the housing store, the shelves are full. Buyers have their full choice of what they're used to being able to look for. And demand is much better here, though, up 46% and then about flat the rest of the month. Not surprising. These are numbers from April. These will be right when the spring market is really starting to get underway. When you look at the overall market, though, slight shifts. Like I said, we have a little more supply. Buyers have a little more to choose from. Slowing down the market a touch. We've gone, remember, 4 or 5 months of inventory. This is the number we're looking at here. 4 or 5 months of inventory represents a neutral market. We're still well under that. We're still very much in seller market territory. We're at 1.65 months of an inventory in April. That's up slightly. That means things are slowing slightly. All these numbers are very slight, but that's how the market moves in real estate sometimes. For Whisper Dunes, the market is still very good there. If I can get me out of the way, we're still very much in a seller's market there. You might notice it has slowed a bit. It's gone from 0.67 to 1 to 2. Very slight, still very much a seller's market, but these are trends worth paying attention to over the next 30, 60, 90 days. We're right in the middle of our selling season, our spring selling season, where you would expect a bulk of the activity to happen. It'll be interesting to see how we compare with last year and see if the supply levels keep up. I haven't given you specific pricing since March in Whisper Dunes. We only had 2 sales in March and April for Whisper Dunes. Both were over on Sand Oak, $400,000 and $405,000 for 3-bedroom, 2-bath units were about the same square footage. So The main takeaway here for you is there are some slight shifts happening in, I don't want to say a negative way, but there is more supply. Demand is a little bit flat. The longer supply outpaces demand, at some point that puts pressure for prices to at the very least, stop appreciating and flattening out a bit. We don't see anything yet that we're to the point where you would see any kind of pullback on pricing, but it's worth paying attention to these things 30, 60, 90 days down the road, like I said, and you get into 3-4 months of inventory. It's a different story than where we are today. So things are still going well. If you're a seller, it's a good time to be a seller. The ball's still in your court. It's a very good time to be extra aggressive on your pricing still. That's not quite the same in the condo market. I ran the numbers this morning on those, and there's some pretty dramatic shifts happening there. So hope you found this interesting. I know it's kind of short this month, but I hope this helps you. If you have any questions, my direct cell line is 850-527-0221. Feel free to reach out anytime. Hope you found this helpful, and thanks for watching.